David Streeter. I'll fire away with questions from whenever you're ready.
Brandon, can you walk us through that 2-minute drill? It really felt like that was the turning point of the game where the offense really stepped up when the team needed it most. Can you just walk us through what that process was like? Do you guys also have a planned script for stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Each week we talk about 2-minute, just because it's an important situation, that we have to be aware of, and fortunately for us on offense, it's been a really confidence boost for our guys. I mean, they've done a really good job of creating points in those situations for the most part. I think we had one that we stalled out on earlier in the season, but it's something we work on each week. We talk about it, and a lot of times when you run those type of situations and you're in a 2-minute situation, our guys can get into rhythm and get into a tempo that is faster than normal, obviously, and allows them to play fast and not to think too much. And so I know DJ is very confident in those situations, and so we just ran some base plays and guys made them, whether it was in the run game or in the pass game. So it was fun to see, and it was definitely something that was needed to go into the half, going up and having some momentum coming into the third quarter. And then obviously coming back in the third quarter, did a good job of our defense stopped them, and they punted to us, and then we scored. So it was a big confidence boost.
We saw that DJ led the team in rushing yards. How much confidence does that give the team that DJ can be such a weapon on offense in the run game?
Yeah, I talked to the offense after the game and just was really proud of how we can win and be successful in different ways, and not whether it's rushing for a bunch or passing for a bunch or a mixture, and different guys doing different jobs. And so, for DJ to be able to get some of those rushing yards, and that helped. Anytime you're rushing the quarterback or running the quarterback, you're gaining an extra hat. And so I think it's important that he gained confidence throughout the year, something that he wasn't able to do last year as much, whether it was just from his injuries or just he wasn't as effective with that. And so he's gained a ton of confidence in that, and I think our offense has gained a ton of confidence in that too, just being able to do those things with the running game and not just always hand it to a running back.
That last play where he scores the touchdown, he's smiling going into the end zone.
Is he really?
Yeah, so I mean,
I was too.
I guess that's his confidence.
Yeah.
It was a different kind of play.
Yes, it was. It was something that, first off, we were able to, have them use all of their timeouts. So we knew they didn't have any more timeouts left. So we didn't want to throw the ball, risk of, having an incompletion and stopping the clock. And Coach Sweeney had a great idea of just, hey, let's get under center, make it look like we're going to really run that ball, right at them. And they were really over pursuing and really, attacking the ball carrier a lot. And so, DJ did a great job of being patient and kind of selling that handoff, and then came out the edge. And a couple guys, I think even Joseph Ngata did a good job of suggesting, hey, why don't I just run an over route, and my corner will run with me and get him out of there, and that worked as well. And so it was really fun to watch, these guys finish like that. And I keep saying it, but I told the offense again, man, just whenever our backs are against the wall, when we need something, we need a score, we're finding a way to manufacture that score, and we've just got confidence in a lot of those situations.
Just mentioned Ngata suggesting an over route. Davis Allen last week was telling us he likes the fact that he can go to Kyle Richardson and say, I see this, and bring it up to you up in the box. I mean, how much more of that input, kind of back and forth, do you have with the players?
Yeah, a lot, and it's been it's given me a lot of confidence because it's important that during games we're communicating, and it's not just the coaches communicating, it's the players, like you're saying, communicating to the coaches what they see. And obviously, we can't run everything, but there's a lot of times that they see some things that we might not have seen or thought about, and it might just be a little tweak here or there that can make a difference in a game. And so those suggestions are very critical, because I trust those guys. I trust those guys, out there on the field, and they're giving a lot of good feedback. So that's helped a lot.
Is that something you made an emphasis coming into the year, like, hey guys, come tell them, they'll tell me?
Well, yeah, I think it's something that I think it gives them confidence in the coaching staff when you can ask for suggestions from them. It gets them more involved. And whether they're guys that are playing on the field or guys, we have a lot of guys on the sidelines that are watching a lot of things, whether it's the quarterbacks watching certain things, tight ends watching things, any position, you know, they're watching too. And so when they give us those suggestions, you know, it's something that we're definitely considering and adapting into that offense of scheme. So it makes it fun, and it makes it neat for everybody to be involved in other ways, you know, not just being out on the field, but just, you know, being on the sideline and giving us some of those thoughts too.
So how often does Dabo like step in and talk to you about certain plays, or just say, hey, this is what we're gonna run?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt, you know, he's a big part of this thing. I mean, he's always been a big part of it. And things that he believes in and things that he sees as a head coach in a different perspective, you know, and just, so there's definitely suggestions and thoughts throughout the game that we do, you know, and it's been a big help, you know, in a lot of different ways of, you know, his suggestions and things that he believes in, has really helped us in a lot of ways too. So I think the camaraderie of our staff has been very good. And, you know, that's something that was, you know, very important for us coming into the spring is, man, let's make sure that we have good camaraderie and we feed off of each other with different ideas, and not just our offensive staff, but Coach Sweeney as well. And so it's been good. We've been feeding off of each other.
So does he just come over the headset and say, hey, this is what I wanna run here, or how does that work, just in game?
Yeah, I mean, there's a mixture of ways. I mean, I think one is, you know, he's looking at the call sheet just like we are, and seeing things that we have for different situations, and he's suggesting certain things. And then sometimes like, hey, let's just run this right here, you know. So it's a good mixture.
I guess, what do you think when he said, let's go with a boot here that we've never practiced? Like,
Well, it was good because, you know, we hadn't been under center all game long. You know, to be honest with you, we didn't go under center because we thought it was going to be a rain type of a situation until late in the week, and so we didn't practice a whole lot under center and didn't want to have to mess with a wet ball situation. You know, not being under center a ton, and just getting under center, you know, shows that, hey, you know, here comes another run, and so that suggestion was right on point, and then we just tweaked a few things to make it work and fit it into what we were doing. So it just worked out good, which was fun to see.
Brandon, you had a couple of boots like that when you were here in Clemson, didn't you?
We didn't get under center much. We did a little bit. Yeah, we had a couple things that we did from under center, or just bootlegs and nakeds and trying to get on the edge for sure. Yep.
What does Boston College's defense present to you guys this week?
Yeah, you know, Boston College is always a tough physical football team. That's the first thing that comes to mind as I think of Boston College. That's what they take pride in, and that's why, you know, they're a tough unit. And so, you know, Coach Hafley has done a great job on the defensive side of the ball of really keeping it simple. A lot of one high stuff, a mixture of some two high, but they mix in man and zone, which makes it difficult to figure out, hey, are they in man or are they in zone? And so, you know, we got to do a great job of having some complementary plays there. But they're a tough group. They work their tails off, effort group. And then they got a lot of experience back. I think 8 or 9 guys are back from last year, you know, so they're guys that know how to play the positions. They're very disciplined, and they don't have many busts, and so that's something that, you know, that we got to challenge our guys on is our execution. You know, if they're going to execute on defense, we got to execute on offense to offset that.
Yeah, that first half here, 2 years ago, I think it was, they had you guys on your heels.
Yep.
But you were able to kind of come back and find ways. That was also kind of DJ's coming
Yep.
out party. Is it, when you think back on that, is it amazing how far he's come from that game to the person he is right now?
You know, it really is. You know, he's, you know, he had like you said, a big game against them 2 years ago, and then, you know, had some really a ton of success as a first-year guy, being behind Trevor Trevor was out, so we had opportunities to play him, and then, you know, he built a lot of confidence last year, a lot of adversity in a lot of different areas, and then just for him to grow through that adversity and, you know, and be very, very confident where he is right now, it's pretty neat to see the progression. It really is, and I've said it before, but there's nobody more deserving than DJ. You heard me say it a lot, but just he works his tail off, and he's never compromised his work ethic. And so I'm just proud of him of pushing through that adversity and then watching him succeed in a lot of ways this season so far has been rewarding for him and me.
It's y'all and Syracuse on your side of the ACC that are the lone unbeatens. So y'all are in the driver's seat, something different from last year. Just how's it feel to be in that driver's seat this year?
Well, it's good. I mean, it's always good to be in the driver's seat. You know, you played two big games these last 2 weeks that were critical for us to get into that driver's seat and for us to gain that confidence to play in a game at Wake Forest in double overtime and win that type of situation. You know, and then this past week, another top 10 opponent in a big environment, and to win that situation as well just gives us more and more confidence. And now the key is going to be continue to trust the process and trust the fact that, hey, it's all about us, you know, and it doesn't matter who we're playing, to be honest with you. It's about Clemson, and it's about us taking care of ourselves and making sure that, you know, we're prepared in the same way each and every week. And we know what college football looks like. You know, you look around the country these first 4 or 5 weeks, and there's so many, you know, situations where, you know, if guys aren't ready to play or if guys, you know, don't take one game at a time, you know, it comes back and bites them. So that's the big, you know, theme for us throughout the whole year is we're playing Clemson every single week, and it's all about us.
Ran a lot of catches for the tight ends the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Is that strictly a defense thing, or what you see in the defense, or has there been a more concerted effort to get those guys involved?
It's really a combination. It's a combination of finding matchups, and it's a combination of just having confidence in those guys and lining them up in different ways. You know, whether they're coming out of the backfield making plays in the passing game, or they're lined out wide making plays in the passing game. And so, you know, my confidence just continues to grow in that room and what they've become as players. And so it allows, you know, we've done a good job, I feel like, as an offense of spreading the ball around. You know, it's not just one guy or one position getting all the catches or, you know, and so I think that makes it harder for the defense to defend. You know, when you have, you know, different positions making plays each and every game. And so that's been a lot of fun.
You guys have had some 2x2 sets where you've had Jake and Davis both lined up in the slot at the same time. Putting them in the slot, is that something that you wanted to do more?
Yeah, again, matchups is a big thing, and then whenever we get into those sets, you know, we're in 12 personnel, so 2 tight ends, 2 receivers, and 1 running back, and you know, a lot of times people are conventional and just get them in the backfield, or the tight ends are just in the backfield, but now we have been able to line them up in different spots, and so whether it's in the slot or outside, you know, creating those matchups with those big bodies, that's hard to cover, and it takes away tendencies too, you know, and so just being able to grow those packages each and every week has been fun as an offensive staff.
So last week we heard from Kyle Richardson that there's even an emphasis on third down where his group and some coaches looked at third down and another group of coaches looked at second down, first down. Why do you split it up that way? Are you looking at certain situations, certain personnel groups? You like, what specifically do you gain by having different groups of coaches looking at those downs?
Yeah, you talk about as we game plan?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think it's important to get everybody involved in the game plan. You know, there's a lot of different ways that I've done in the past and that we've done it here in the past. You know, one way is to have everybody, you know, sit in the room and watch every situation and watch every formation and watch every personnel group and go through that process that way. But I think there's a little bit more ownership maybe when you break off and you have projects for different guys and then they get to present and, you know, it gives them a little bit more ownership of what they're doing, you know, and I think you can gain some even more ideas by doing it that way, rather than everybody being in the room the whole time and then watching the same stuff, you know, and so we've been able to do that. We've been able to break off and guys kind of focusing on certain parts of the game plan, and then coming back together and kind of rehashing it and letting me look at it in a different way, and then just kind of coming up with the game plan that way. So that's kind of the reason why, and it's been going really well. Even though each week we're tweaking little things on how we want a game plan throughout the week, that's kind of been the gist of it so far.
With the run game Saturday, was the game plan to get DJ more involved early, or was it just the flow of the game?
You know, I love getting DJ in the flow early as a runner. I think it gets him going. I think it, you know, creates a sense of urgency as a runner, and it also allows him to not just be a pocket guy making throws back there. You know, it allows him to get on the edge, and I think it gets him going, you know, early in the game. So, you know, it's a combination though of both, you know, part of the game plan and part of just, hey, how can we get him going? What's the best way to do that? And it also depends on what the defense is doing too. So it was a good little mixture.
Brandon, I wanted to ask about college football analysts now. I mean, obviously when you got started in coaching, that wasn't a route you could take. But I mean, now that it's here, I mean, a guy like Kyle Richardson, a guy like Wes Goodwin, have an entryway and they get there. And what's it like having more voices or more eyes to look at different things and bring to you that you might not see?
Yeah, I think it's very, very important. You know, any idea and anything that somebody sees that can present to our staff, I mean, could make the difference, you know, and that's how we've approached it ever since I've been here. You know, Coach Sweeney does a great job of empowering people to do their job and voice their opinion. And so we have a very, very smart and engaging support staff, and we've always been that way. And I think it's very, very valuable for those reasons. And so, you know, I look back at my days when I was at Liberty and was at Richmond, and it was the 5 full-time offensive coaches and 1 GA. You know, and times have changed, and it's been a good thing. It's been a good change. It's given guys opportunities to share those thoughts and share those opinions, and it allows us to be even more multiple. It allows us to be more creative. You know, so it's been very, very good so far.
Now when your offense has a meeting, your offensive staff has a meeting, you need a big meeting room to do it. You can't fit everybody in a...
That's exactly right. I believe we have 12 or 14, maybe I think 14 guys in the room, you know? And so, and everybody's got different projects that they're doing. I mean, it's everybody's got a responsibility, and John Gross does a great job of overseeing that, you know, as our senior guy that just kind of oversees the different projects. And so our guys are put to work, and they're doing a great job of feeding off of each other.
Is that ever overwhelming? I mean, now that it's so big, everybody's got an idea. Like, do you have to like maybe take a step back and be like, hold on a second, or like, I mean, how do you find that balance?
Yeah, you got to do a great job of managing that. You know, you really do, and you got to find a way to make sure that every support staff guy has a job and that they're doing their job and not trying to do somebody else's job. But it's very, like I said earlier, I mean, it's very beneficial because as long as guys are doing their job, and then on top of that, you know, giving those ideas and understanding that, hey, every idea that they give is not going to go into the game plan, and they just got to